Welcome to the Moon Unscathed. I am Dwan L. Hearn, more affectionately known as the Moon, and I almost forgot the name of this show. I was just talking about it, and I almost forgot the name of the show. It wouldn't be the first time today that I got a name of a show wrong. It's okay. But I am here with one of my newer creative friends that I met at Imaginarium a couple years ago, I think it was. You've seen him on one of my bagillion other programs. You've seen him on my favorite episode of Moon Equals Wrestling. He joined me and my now co-host Joker on the episode about what counts as world championship material. Fantastic episode. It should still be on this channel, so feel free to go back and watch that. Whether you like wrestling or not, it's still pretty damn cool. This is Wayne Mitchell, better known as WW Mitchell. That's not a website, should be, but it isn't. And if it looks like we've been laughing recently, it's because we were, and I'll show you why here in a minute. This is Wayne's website. This is www.w-w-m.com, or as we recently discovered, wom.com.
It's brilliant. It will have it just like
I guarantee you nobody will forget this website. You're welcome, sir. And you heard it here on the Moon Unscathed first. So as I've talked about a lot, I talk about this convention that I go to every July. It is called the Imaginarium. And at the Imaginarium, we have this place called the Couch. Why is it called the Couch? Because there's a couch there. And that's where we sit. Hence the name. And a couple years ago, we're sitting on the couch because it's like we're between events and whatnot. And I'm sitting on the couch, and this dude in a purple blazer shows up. And he's there because it's an award ceremony. And I'm like, I don't know this dude, but he's got some mutuals. We have some mutuals. Beth Gallagher, I think, is a mutual of ours. And so I'm like, hey, so what brings you to Imaginarium? And he had a script that was up for an award, and I believe it was short form, right?
No, long form. It was
long form. That first one,
long form. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. That was my companion year. Yeah, so it was long form. So I'm like, oh, screenplay long form. You're in the same category as I am. Great. Well, good luck. And I think it was one of those really important notes where you really recognize that we do the same thing, but we're not competition. We were just up for the same award. And I think exactly. I would hope that in that moment you understood what Imaginarium stood for. We were really there to work together, to collaborate, not to put each other down and compete. So let me ask you, what brought you to Imaginarium that year?
Well, I found, like most people, they end up finding festivals and award shows. They want to try to circulate their work. The Legend of Sky City was kind of like a creative renaissance for me in terms of getting my writing mojo back. So
Gotcha.
after putting that together, I entered it, and to my surprise, it was nominated for an award. And that was like the biggest boost of confidence ever. So I'm thinking, well, why would I not go to this? I've never been to Louisville. I've never been anywhere in Kentucky, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't blame you.
And and looking at the festival, and it seemed like it had like this very welcoming energy from what it was displaying. And I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go. Pack my clothes, pack my purple blazer, and decided to
that
go.
Is a story that is brought up for a reason. We will get to that.
I feel like purple definitely was a color that emphasized the sci-fi and fantasy genre. So I figured I'd pack that and wear it just in case. good luck would happen at the award show. When I got there, I was absolutely nervous at first because I've never, that was my first time being nominated for an award. It was my first film festival, or book and film festival. It was just, there were a lot of firsts going on. And once I started talking to everyone, that nervousness just went down immediately because everyone was so welcoming and everyone was just open and ready to get to know me. And I'm not just this random stranger sitting alone in this circle of individuals. Everyone's talking to each other and getting to know each other. So once we started doing that, and once we started, everyone started participating in the panels, and everything just became fun. And I had a great time getting to know you, getting to know everyone that was there. It felt like a community that I definitely belonged in. Everyone had shared the same interests. Creators, writers, artists. It's just a great community to be a part of, and I was just really happy to be there.
And we were great. We were so happy to have you, man. We love having new blood in. Not too long prior to that, like I'd only been going to Imaginarium since 2021, and the way they talk, the way the Legend of the Moon is at Imaginarium, you'd have thought I'd been there forever. But mind you, it's only been like 5-6 years that I've been going. But that's what it is. And the reason I wanted to tell that story is because that is one, how I met you, and that is sort of the environment that I think most creatives need in their lives. It may not be Imaginarium. It may be your local Comic-Con. It might be just some other local book or film festival in your hometown. But I always want to promote getting out there and getting to know people. So since I kind of skipped over it because I needed to tell that story with the website, I had to do it. It was like right there. We were laughing about it right before actually there's like a 2-step process, like for the people at home, there's a 2-step process to hitting record for this. There's like a record and it's like are you sure? Are you ready? And then hit record again. I hit it once. We laughed for about like another minute and a half. And then I hit record the second time. And that's what I had to talk about that first. That is how you were introduced to me. So how about you take a moment to introduce yourself to these wonderful people who have already been here for almost 10 minutes.
So as I stated before, Wayne Mitchell, or preferably WW Mitchell. Abbreviations or initials are cool. I'm a writer, screenwriter, occasionally a singer. We'll get on that later. I currently have two novels out, The Legend of Sky City and Cataclysm Kin. Cataclysm Kin being my first novel. I don't know what else I can add to that. Besides, drinking coffee and at a accelerated rate, I'm just your average writer.
I still got coffee left over.
Just keep it coming.
Everything's here, man.
Yeah, man. I do so many other things. Gosh, introducing myself is such a challenge.
It's sometimes doing your own bio is hard, but I know there's a lot. There's a way that we introduce ourselves and the way we introduce other people. And I love how people introduce themselves. Sometimes even when you have a difficult time, it's a little bit more humanizing. And I love recognizing people as people. That's one of the original purposes of this show, is to talk to people and really get to know the person on the other side of our labels. the label of writer, screenwriter, filmmaker, dad, husband,
Yeah.
friend, neighbor. There's a person behind those labels. And one of the purposes of this show is to get to talk to the person behind our labels.
Yes.
So, of course, you are a writer. That's why you are here. That's how we met. So, obviously, we're going to ask the most cliche questions up front. Like, what got you into writing?
I've been writing since I was young, very young. I'd say probably about 10, 11. I started when I was a kid, I was writing poetry. Um, and I would, yeah, but it was something that helped me cope as growing up. Because I necessarily didn't fit in when I was younger. I was too quiet, very timid, and poetry and writing kind of um, kept me in line. And then I started, I say, when I was in my preteens and my teens, I started writing little stories, little short stories, in my notebook, and then I would like draw them in like little comic panels. Um,
Oh, cool.
I had a friend in high school. She introduced me into um, a manga and anime, and I didn't know anything about it. And the first thing that she like, well, you're used to Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, but in a different level, I didn't really know much about reading it. And the
Yeah.
first thing that she introduced me into was Death Note, and I
Okay.
immediately fell in love. So I started doing my little drawings or whatever.
You
I
started doing
started
your own
passing.
Death Note.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like, no, man, this guy stole my pencil.
Oh,
This
no
guy stole my
mistake.
pencil.
No, not my own Death Note. Oh gosh, I wasn't that bad. No, I
That's why
started
he
doing
wrote
my.
poetry. You guys are alive today. You're alive today because he decided to write poetry instead of writing your name in the Death Notebook.
Thank your lucky stars.
You are welcome.
I started passing it out to people and started, letting them look at the pictures and read the story. And there was a story that I wrote. There's a lot of stories that I will never forget. And the one that I wrote in high school was called The Crimson Angel. And it was about like this weird team of secret agents that were trying to free this weird looking angel from prison or whatever. And there was some inspirations like pulled from Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, which I really enjoyed that series. And then I started writing more, and then I slowly started delving into screenwriting. And that, no,
That's
no,
a
go ahead.
beast. No,
Yeah,
that's a beast. Go ahead, talk about that.
that was that was interesting. The reason, so there's two movies that I usually credit with getting me into the idea of film and getting me into the idea of screenwriting. Um, so Batman Begins. I've seen it. Well, actually, scratch that. The last Batman that I saw as a kid at one point before high school was Batman and Robin. I did not know they made a Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware that The Dark Knight was a movie that was coming out. I didn't even know it was released. So we had a film class. It was like an elective at the high school I was doing. And the teacher put on The Dark Knight. And I watched it. And my mind was just blown away. And I was like, when did this come out? Why wasn't I told about this movie? This movie's amazing.
It is
And
amazing.
from that point on, I was like, I want to be a filmmaker. This is cool. And then I saw The Departed, and I saw it as a teenager. And that was the film that got me into screenwriting. I wanted to write screenplays after watching that movie because it was just so well written. It was just beautifully written. The brutality, the the rawness of it is just such an intelligently written film. So, and I tried my hand at writing screenplay, and I will tell you, like a lot of people say, their first screenplay is most likely terrible.
I was gonna ask you how your first one was.
It was awful. I actually have it saved in my drive.
I still have mine.
Saved in my drive.
It was trash. It's so bad. I sent it to a buddy of mine. So if you're a screenwriter out there and you're trying to get into it and you wrote your first one and you're like, this is straight garbage, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Your first one is supposed to be trash. At least that's what I thought. And apparently Wayne concurs. Your first one is garbage. It's just you haven't learned the things yet. So I tried my first one. It was trash. But then I gave it to some of my friends and they were like, okay. I knew I was in trouble when the first thing they asked me was, okay, how honest do you want me to be? That's how I knew I fucked up. And after that, they're like, well, okay, so you wrote one. That's a step that most people don't get that far. And you wrote one. That's good. All right. And then they completely destroyed me after that. But it was good criticism. It was necessary criticism. And I learned a lot from that criticism. I started reading Save the Cat. I have Screenwriters for Dummies. Screenwriters out there, find scripts. If you search for free, like screenplay PDF free, you can find a bunch of free downloadable scripts. Amazon, because it's accessible to everybody, you can buy screenplays off of Amazon. I happen to have one next to me. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was. This is Us from Jordan Peele. This is the screenplay for Us. I have an entire folder on my computer. So just a tip to everyone else: read screenplays. I suggest the most fun you will have as a screenwriter is finding a script and watching the movie and doing a read along. Mm-hmm. Do a read along, because not only will you see it as it's written, but then you'll find the scenes that weren't there, and you'll see where they started cutting things out. And you'll see, well, why did they cut this scene out? It's like, and you'll read it. You can study it from that point. Just so you know, I want a copy of The Blackening. I need The Blackening, the script for The Blackening. I am dead serious. I think that script is genius. Dwayne Perkins, I think that script is perfect. I want that script, and I want the script to Sinners, and I want to study hell. I want to study those screenplays so bad.
Is that one available yet? I imagine it's
I haven't found it.
Oh man!
But I need that. So yeah, if anybody has any tips on where I can acquire either one of those two, hit me up. Actually, I have this banner I can put out there. You can email me here. Email your moon. Let your moon know I'm trying to do better. I need Wayne not to beat me in a screenplay award anymore. I can't be losing to Wayne. The 1 year I didn't. The 1 year I have submitted something and did not win. This guy beat me. I blame Wayne.
You know,
keep your friends close, and your enemies closer.
I'm still thinking, what can I do to be better than the script the script that I won the award with? Because I always want to outdo myself, and it's not about competing with others. It's about competing with myself. Hey, right. How can I do better than I did last time? Because that right there, that's the fun. How can I outdo myself? Yeah,
it's the growth. Because I have 2 runner-up trophies. And I'm like, all right, cool. I need a first place trophy. I need to keep going.
Mhm.
I have to keep going because I have to have first place at some
Mhm.
point. It's not about the people I competed with. It's all about me, as selfish as it
Yes.
can be.
Yeah.
It's a one person sport. Uh, you're competing with you. You
Yep.
you should be striving to do better. Now, the one
Yes.
question I wanted to lead into, because you mentioned your first one was your first. I'm like, I had to ask you how your first one was. But more importantly, going back when you were talking about sharing your stories
Mhm.
with friends and such in school, I want to ask, how do you feel? Not so much then, but now, after you write something, sharing it, because it's always personal until you hand it over to that first person and you've opened yourself up to a little bit of criticism. How do you release it to be reviewed over with your friends and such, and how do you accept uh, good faith criticism?
I think it's knowing when it is constructive criticism, especially when it comes to a screenplay, because it's different with a novel or a story, or a short story. Anyone can sit there and they'll read it and they'll give you. Most people will give you more criticism with the story itself, but when it comes to a screenplay, the thing that I've encountered the most is a lot of people are really confused by the format. Just
Yes,
random people that I would talk
off
to
top,
or
yeah.
my family. Yeah. And so I can't really go to everyone with a screenplay and ask them, "Hey, um, can you give me like a consensus of what you think about the script?" I would usually have to go to someone who has read the script before or is a screenwriter. Um, you'll find some people who know how to read a script, but
Yeah,
it's usually those are the folks that would be able to give me better criticism on it. And I've gotten better. And the reason why I've gotten better, and I really hate to say this, is because I've turned in bad scripts online to places like the Blacklist or Coverfly, and I've had folks give me, the criticism, either rate it or tell me it's good or bad. And believe it or not, I've had some bad reviews saying this needs work. Um, the characters are not defined enough.
I get that. Yeah,
The characters need something to do, and all these things. These are. It's not to like at first. I used to get real salty about it when I was younger.
yeah,
Like, oh man, well, this is the best thing I've ever wrote. No,
right.
and now, yeah. So nowadays, years later, you start looking at the critiques, you start absorbing it, and you start taking those notes and you just grabbing them and like, okay, how can I make my story better? What do I need to do with my protagonist to make that protagonist a stronger character, and in turn make that stronger character better for the story, make a stronger story.
Yeah.
And when you do apply those notes, and I'm not saying don't apply all of those notes, because you can
Of
you can
course not. Yeah,
bend some rules and stuff, um, because not every screenwriting rule is meant to be followed. You can bend some rules when it comes to screenwriting to tell
yeah.
some really good stories, and we see it every day in film.
Every time,
Um,
every day.
Everything, and it makes for a great experience.
Yes.
But in terms of improving characterizations, um, settings, conflict, which is one of the biggest criticisms I've gotten with my work, is giving your protagonist hell. And
Yeah.
if there is anything that I've learned more than in screenwriting, it's you need to make your protagonist's life a living hell. And I think I've gotten a lot better at that. um, I've definitely laid the hammer down on any protagonist. And with the Legend of Sky City, that what made that one interesting was the protagonist is a 10-year old. So that that conflict is like magnified to a level because a 10-year old has to journey across some really awful territory, and that's conflict. Or it could be something as simple as the protagonist can't swim. I know I couldn't
Right.
swim when I was 10, so
I
that's an
still can't swim.
experience that.
I still don't swim.
So, and there's a relatable point right there. Is you use conflict. You can take conflict from your life, or take conflict from things that most people aren't able to do, or most people have never learned to do, and you apply it to the character. So that, getting those criticisms in, stage to another platform, you can, get, you know, your story or your script looked at. Um, I've showed my story to my siblings, um, my neighbor, and I've asked them, "Hey, would you watch this? Hey, would you read this?" I've gotten a lot of no's. I've gotten a lot of no's, and that's the most humbling thing, is getting no's and getting, it's all right,
Yeah.
And once you get that, wow, this is good, you start realizing that all of the constructive criticism was worth it, because now you figured that secret formula that you needed for that story, and it works out.
That is always tough. I think it's tough for any creator when it comes to accepting criticism and realizing that it's the work that's being criticized, not the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, I've had some work that, and the worst part was it wasn't even criticized, but it didn't win an award. And and that was my thing. It was just like, so like, I'm like, all right, this one didn't win anything and this one didn't win anything. Why? What was it about this that didn't appeal? Let me rework it. Let me sit there. And I can tell you, over here in my stack of work, I have this 60 something page screenplay that I went through individually, page by page, rereading to make sure I'm like, all right, this could have been said slightly different, making this person sound a little bit different than I was told. Like, some of my characters didn't sound. All my characters sounded like me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a common criticism, something I have to work on, and giving your protagonist hell, making them actually go through something that in my mind translates to something different. And I write horror, so my people go through shit, but they do. But the real thing is, like, do you focus on that emotion as experienced by the character, or is it the experience that you want the reader slash watcher, imagining your screenplay being a movie? Are you focusing on how the character is experiencing that struggle, or how that emotion is going to impact the viewer? Which one do you like? How do you focus on that? Which one do you focus on?
The first thing, I go for the character in the story, because I'm writing it for the character. I want the character to feel that. It's almost like when you write the story and the character starts getting a mind of its own. It's
Yes.
such a weird thing to say, but
It is.
It's so true. It's
but
true.
every writer says it. Every writer says it. I'm not writing it. My character is writing it through me.
Yes.
And listen, I know how weird that sounds to people who are watching this if you've never experienced it. But I have a set of stories called Such Is Life, and I wrote it episodically. Episode 3 was supposed to go one completely different direction. It never got close to that because my characters did something else. And I know how weird that sounds. Just like Wayne was saying, it sounds funny. It sounds weird. Trust us. That's how it works. It's not us. We're just at the whims of our characters. So do your characters talk to you when you make them struggle? Is that how you gauge it? I know it sounds weird to even ask the question like that.
I think I wouldn't say talk to me. I would say they're having an internal conversation with themselves. Like, how did I get here? What am I going to do? And it's not being put on paper. I'm trying to envision what this character is mentally going through right now due to the situation. So I'll provide a very subtle example. The 10-year-old character in um, the Legend of Sky City script goes through something very, very traumatic. And the traumatic part is written, but the most traumatic part beside, well, let me rephrase that. The thing that is more traumatic than the event that happens to the protagonist is how he reacts to the traumatic event, because that's going to carry the emotion. That's going to, push it through the story. How is he reacting to it? What is this character going to do in his darkest moments? Because that right there, that's when you decide, based on everything that this character has done, his personality, all these things that have been established in the beginning of the script, beginning of the story. Now the character controls that, and that's going to determine how the character reacts to it. So the 10-year-old, he's very confident, he's hard-headed, he's very, very brave, except for a few things. So now he's a 10-year-old, he's going to react to this traumatic event kind of holding back because he doesn't want to speak to anybody, but he is still broken. And that right there, that establishes, well, I got that part down. And that emotion is how I want the reader or the viewer to feel when they're seeing this. I want them to feel, I want them to be empathetic to the character and what he's going through. Because when you get that empathy for that character that is going through that dark, very dark moment, now you have something special. Now you have the opportunity to create a cheering moment later on because the character has overcome it. If you create that dark moment right there and you create that reaction to that dark moment that trails throughout, now you have the opportunity, you have to start setting the pieces to create that triumph moment that the character must have for the story to feel complete. I think that is the best way to complete an arc, is to take the character on this journey, and we experience the journey with the character. It's fun, it's dangerous, it's scary, it's exciting, it's all of these things at the same time. I want you to feel the excitement. I want you to be there with the characters if you're sitting right next to them. And then I want you to feel sad for the character, or feel absolutely terrified for the character when he's going through that dark moment. Because I'm gearing you up to feel something really special, the triumph. It's almost like, and when I wrote the triumphant part, and it's a key moment in the story where the character experienced something truly great. And I almost felt like cheering for him, because I was like, this is awesome. I'm writing like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. That's how I want everyone else to feel, like, oh my God, he made it. He made it through that situation in the best way possible. And that moment to me is better than the conclusion of the film, because that part, the conclusion of the film, the conclusion of the story is just, the story as a whole is complete. But the character arc of his pain and the drag of the pain, and then his redemption arc to complete it and finally redeeming himself and experiencing triumph, that's something that we all as human beings hunger for. That's one of the most enriching feelings ever, is to feel that triumph. And if you can translate that on paper and make the reader or the viewer feel that, there's no better film, no better films that can, than those that translates the feeling of triumph. We've seen it in so many great movies. I mean, gosh, I can count them on my hands, one of my favorite trilogies, and I know I'm gonna get flack for this one
Oh,
because
already. Let me set up. Let me set up. Hold on.
Because the first movie is a legendary film, and the other two are not. And we're not going to talk about the fourth movie. I think you know which one I'm about to say.
I don't know.
The Matrix trilogy.
All right.
But at the end of the third movie, and I don't care about spoilers because the movie came out, eons ago.
It's fine. I have like a spoiler rule, like within 12 months. If it's available at home and it's been available at home for more than a week, that's your own damn fault. I understand if you didn't go to the theater. The theater is unnecessarily expensive, but if it's available at the house for at least a week, no, it's on you, dude. It's on you. It's on you.
But there's a part. Yeah, and there's a part where Neo, he wins, he beats Agent Smith, and that's the end of Neo's arc. Neo dies. But the triumphant part is the part that gets you up and gets you ready to cheer, is when the character of Mouse, who's one of the fighters in the real world, he goes running around. He's like, the war is over, the war is over. And the people of Zion start screaming and cheering. And that's the lightning being released from the bottle. That's the confetti and everything. Not like there's no confetti in the film, but that's the part that makes you want to cheer with the folk in the film. That's what makes a good triumphant part in a film that really brings out the excitement in the movie.
And I think that's a powerful thing. Now, you made mention of this, that's something that we all kind of relate to. And it reminds me of, like, we go through struggles all the time. And if we sit back today, and we may be going through, I'm going through some things right now. I'm sure you are, everyone is. But I can look back on struggles that I've had in the past and look around me and realize, oh yeah, I came out of that. I succeeded. I came out of that. Anyone who's ever been, living out of a duffel bag, or back and forth on a buddy's couch, or whatever your struggle may have been, look where you are. I mean, I'm sitting in my office now. My office used to be my mama house that I used to have to go to and hang out in her living room while she was at work. I have my own private office now at my home. That's my book cover on the wall, right? I released a book. That's a success of my own. And I can see that in my own self, and to turn around and read your work and then turn around and feel that for your characters, like, this character felt like I felt, or reminds me to appreciate what I felt, as that extra layer that you're able to connect. And I think, honestly, there's a lot of people who felt that connection just in hearing you tell that, just answer that question. You had a lot of energy and passion in that. And I can only imagine that being translated into your work. Speaking of which, I don't know how you have enough energy to translate that kind of emotion into the 45 million pieces of work that you've got going on right now. Here's the serious question. How do you get so much bloody work that, like, listen, I don't know. Listen, I don't know how this man has the ability to put out 75 million stories, each one with their own Facebook video.
Okay,
I'm obviously exaggerating to some, but my serious question is, like, you are always busy. There is always something new on the horizon. And at one point, on your website, .com. On your website, I'm so in. You are welcome. That's cold. No, but seriously, like, there is so much work, and you had things a couple of years ago scheduled out for like the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You've got so much ahead of you. How are you literally finding the time?
Well, before I work at a bank, and um, even when I'm at work or I'm at home, I'm usually sitting down. I bring my notebooks with me, and I'm always writing every single as much as humanly possible. It doesn't have to be on my computer. It can be right there on my notebooks. I my The bedroom has a bunch of notebooks in there. I'm always writing concepts. Um, for clarity, projects that I have um, that are scheduled for the like for the upcoming years, these are little short stories that were written back in 2011, 2012. And I brought it's like kind of digging them up out of my drive, and I said,
Mhm.
I want to rewrite all of these into novels. I want to change these. I want to put it in a whole thing, in a big novel series. And I said, can I do this? Can I really devote myself to do it? Can I sit here and say, oh, set the time and set the will to actually devote myself to these projects? I think they're cool. I think the characters are cool. And if I think they're cool, I think other people are going to think they're really cool too.
Mhm.
So I sat down and I wrote out a schedule for them. And I said, I'm going to write these. I'm going to get these done. Because at first I didn't think Cataclysm Ken was going to work. That was a short story, and I sent it out to some like a magazine originally as a short story, and they rejected it, and they said it wasn't what they were looking for. And I felt defeated at first because I was like, oh well, um, I don't know what to do. And I said, you know what? It's gonna be for me. This is gonna be for me. And if nobody else wants them, I'm gonna start writing for what I want them for. I want to write what I want to read. I want to write what I want to be seen on screen. And if I can keep that up, if I can keep that motivation for what I want to see on screen, I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I wrote Cataclysm Kin into a full novel. Um, and then next, I adapted the screenplay, The Legend of Sky City, into a novel. Because I want them to be more. I want them to hit film. I want them to exist as full publications, but I also want them to exist as film. Um, and I want all these stories to become film. And the only way for that to happen is for me to get it done. I love the idea of taking my stories and bringing them to life. And if I can do that, and if I can keep my mind and say, I'm going to do that, I'm going to make that happen, and I'm going to create some of the best stuff that anyone has ever watched and anyone has ever seen, I'm going to do it. And I put the dates down, and I'm going to write every single day. And I'm going to write and make sure these stories connect and make sure it's a fun series. I'm going to get it done because I have to. I have no choice. I have absolutely no choice. And if I declare it, and if I say it on a platform, then I have to do it. There's no turning back. I'm at the point of no return right now, and that's it. So now that I've announced it and I've declared it, I have to start writing. I have to start writing every chance that I get, and it's splitting up the time. It's honestly just time management. So if I get up at 4 in the morning, go to the gym, I can't right now. So guess what? I have to get up at 6 in the morning to start writing. If I'm staying up late at night to create some extra time for me to write, because during the day, well, now I think the babies, kids, just being a family man, cleaning up, taking care of the house, or when I am going to work, I have to save time to get that done. So being up early or going to bed late and using um, like motivational um, motivational preparedness to get on it, and just pepping myself up to get on it. I think that's it. That's really just it. Just get up and get moving. Um, because I've been at a point where I was in a bad place and I wasn't doing anything. And there was a point where I was there, and I feel like I don't want to go back to that again. You know,
Okay.
I was doing some I was doing some um, pretty bad stuff that was ruining myself, and I it made me feel lazy. It made me feel useless at one point. And one of my biggest fears is ever going back to that life and going back to that lifestyle of just not um, being useful.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to go back to that. So this is me fighting against that, and keeping myself active and proactive, and just motivated as humanly possible.
So, it's less of a marketing thing, the putting things out. It was less a marketing thing and more of an accountability
Yes.
factor. So you're like, I need to keep myself accountable. I need to
Mhm.
stay on this path. I know what the other path looks like. I
Yes.
walked that road. My feet already hurt. I'm not trying to
Hmm.
do that again. I've got
Yes.
pavement under my feet now, not just rocks. So I'm going to
Yeah.
walk on this pavement for as long as possible. I'm going to keep that in mind, but use this as motivation to keep moving forward in this direction, and mark the dates publicly so that I can be held
Mhm.
accountable to continue
Yes.
to walk this pavement. Uh,
Absolutely.
that's powerful, man. And I think I think that's a really important part of your story. Uh, One I didn't know until just now. But hearing that, it reminds me particularly because I know a lot of people who are motivated differently. They're motivated by different things, and different things help move them forward. And, and I always say everyone deserves a second chance, and it just reminds me that second chances look differently for everybody. That first
Mhm.
chance, that first thing we went through is different for everyone. That struggle is different for everyone, but there is always redemption. And there's always should be space for redemption. And
Yes.
sometimes the only person you got to prove your redemption to is you. And I commend you.
That
I commend you for
that
that.
was that right there, and that quote right there is the only person you have to prove yourself to is yourself. I used to try so hard to impress everyone in the room. Um, I want to my big comeback story. I wanted everyone to see it. I wanted to broadcast it to the world. I want everyone to see it. And when you try and do it for everyone, the biggest mistake is when you try to do it for everyone and no one's watching, it makes you more upset. It makes you want to stop, because
Yeah.
now you're like, oh man, no one's watching me on my comeback. Well, what's the comeback for?
What's the
Because
reason?
yeah, exactly.
Why bother? I think it goes that
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Like why bother? Yeah.
But when you do it for yourself, and that old you in the back of your mind is seeing it, now you're surprising yourself. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, this is me. I'm doing this. When I had my first book signing, there, man, that was that was something. That was just something. I I I've thought about that, um, for the longest time. And you see it on social media. You see people doing the
Yeah.
book thing, and I was doing it, and it was at a Barnes and Noble, and it was just, man, I couldn't believe it. I, just sitting there and being happy to just be there, and people coming up and talking to you. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. I enjoyed talking about the story, and remembering where I was at one point, where you're you're at your lowest of lows, and you want people to notice you, and now you're doing it for yourself. And the ironic part is people are noticing it more when you're doing it for
Yeah,
yourself.
absolutely.
And
It's one of
that's
those
the
things that
beauty
people
of it.
don't notice. People don't realize that that's, and again, I feel weird when I say it like that, but it's that part of the redemption arc that we all get wrong until we've gone through it.
Mhm.
Um, you think that you have to, because so many people saw your downfall. A lot of times, depending on what that downfall looks like, we've hurt other people.
Mhm.
Speaking for myself, we've all come from something, and there were other people that were hurt by our mistakes, and so we want to kind of redeem in the same light by helping other people, and want other people to see we're better. We've done better. I'm a better person. I'm a changed man, or whatever. Um, and like you said, no one cares. You know, no
Yes.
one.
Oh
Everyone's
man,
look. Everyone looks at
that's
you when you're failing. No one gives a damn when you're like, oh,
exactly, yeah,
yay. So he's
yeah.
what? He's working. I'm working too. Why do I don't give a damn. Oh,
Exactly,
he living in a house. Whoop de doo. Here's mine. There's his. There's
exactly,
hers. No one gives a shit. But
exactly.
when you're shining for your own light, right? When you do the little things for you to promote you to you, uh,
Mhm.
your book signing is like this poster, and the significance of me having this poster, because this reminds me of an accomplishment that I made. My
Yes.
lifelong dream
Absolutely.
was to write something, publish it, and hold a physical copy of it in my hand. When I first put this book out, it was an ebook, right? Because it was just a simple thing to put out, and then
Yes.
I didn't have to format it. Um, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I didn't have to format it. So, but I was like, I can't hold this ebook. I need, I need to properly publish. So I properly published it in a physical copy, and like I gathered my kids together because my kids knew that that was Daddy's lifelong dream, and I held it in my hand in front of all my kids, and I was like, this is the accomplishment of a lifelong dream. So if you want to have a lifelong dream, just have it, and you can accomplish it. You're watching your father accomplish his lifelong dream right now. Let that be motivation to do whatever it is that your dream is. And I tell that story because I did that for me. And that was my success for me. Your book signing, that was your success for you. That's not for everybody else. That was for you. And that in and of itself is the lesson. Like I said at the beginning of this interview, my goal is to get on the other side of that label, right? And one, I want to thank you for being so vulnerable to share that story with us, sharing that with me and sharing it here. And I feel like that's so important because it doesn't matter if you're a creative, if you're a filmmaker, a screenwriter, a writer, an author, or whatever. If you're just a mechanic, right? If you're a nurse, right? Regardless of what it is that you do day to day, if you're a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home dad, doesn't matter. We've all been through something, and it helps to hear others have overcome, because when I see someone else has overcome, that means I can overcome too, because it's possible. I've seen it. He did it. She did it. They did it. It's been done over here, so it can be done over here. And I loved hearing that from somebody else. I think there's a lot of people who need to be reminded that the struggle is real. We jokingly say it all the time.
Yeah.
The struggle is
Yeah.
real, but that
It
struggle
is.
looks different for everybody. Um, it can be something that has happened to us, happened around us, that's impacted us, something maybe we have done. Um, but redemption is real, and I don't necessarily mean that in a religious sense, but also if that's the flavor you enjoy. Um,
Mhm.
it's a reminder that regardless of how you redeem yourself, you can. And I love that that is a part of your story. And I appreciate you sharing that here. Um, I appreciate the accountability and the importance of accountability. Uh, what do you have coming out next? What's next? Because don't get me
So
wrong, the hour is coming up. But I'm not restricted to an hour because it's my fucking show. And don't worry,
no, you're good.
that is not an ending question. I've got more. I've got more.
So on Halloween, um, I have a novel called The Price of Immortality coming up. And
I saw
this
that video today, that little clip today.
this was
One of a
originally
thousand.
a short story that was I had wrote in, gosh, I want to say 2013, and I tried to if it some of you you know of Create Space, and I originally published it then under a different pen name at the time, and it was just um, a very generic vampire story. And now I'm changing it, and um, I wanted it to take place in my birth town of Newark, New Jersey. And it, one of the things that I did was change the character backstories, um, and made it fit into that um, into that area where the story needs to take place. So the characters are very different from what it originally was, and I wanted to do this as an homage to my hometown. I
Okay.
recently went and saw, when I went to Paramus to do my book signing, I went also to go see my family and also go see where, the neighborhood that I grew up in. And it was an experience because I haven't been there in so long. And though I haven't been there in so long, everything still felt familiar.
Yeah.
And I needed that because I needed to see everything so that I can make sure I get the story right. And that was the thing. I was like, man, what if this vampire story took place in Newark, New Jersey? That would be cool. That would be really,
Vampires of New
really cool.
Jersey.
And
I'm gonna make sure I pass that along to my good friends at Vamp Chat with Dan and Eva. They do all things vampire, maybe sometime around October because they like to review pieces of work. So maybe when that's released, I'll have a conversation with them. I'll talk to them. I got you.
the story is about a North New Jersey police officer who is bitten by a rebel vampire, and she is forced to help this rebel vampire take on this military-like academy of vampire hunters.
Wow.
And the lead hunter, she's got this very stone face of relentlessness towards the vampire race. And when you read the book, you'll learn that something happened to her and her family when she was younger due to the vampires. And she joins this academy of vampire hunters and becomes this absolute unit of hate and um, just just an absolute killer when it comes to hunting down vampires. And
Gotcha.
so we're talking about this, this really headstrong police officer who is now a vampire and has to deal with being a vampire, going up against this really crude, angry, but still a strong leader with a strong bearing who happens to be a vampire hunter and an entire army. So I, there's a lot of things, a lot of influences going into this story. Whether it's my hometown, whether it's my military background, I'm implementing all of this to create a unique vampire experience. And I really can't wait for everyone to read it. It's got action, it's got horror elements, the fantasy vampire elements. It's just
Gotcha.
putting it all together.
So this is Halloween. It's October 31st. This year, 26.
Yes.
How will this come out? Is it going to be ebook, physical book, hardcover, online read? What
It'll
we got?
it'll be ebook, soft cover, and hardcover.
Gotcha.
No audiobook right now. Audiobook seems very like if I'm gonna do audiobook, I really want to do something exceptional with audiobook. And at the moment, I, I just can't right now. But I really want to because I want to do something really really cool with
I feel like it's a conversation we need to have after the show. Uh,
that. Okay.
don't get me wrong, I'm not volunteering me to do it, but we don't need that. But in our convention space, one of the beautiful things, like we talked about earlier, no one's competing against each other. Everyone's there to work together and collaborate. There are a lot of people who do similar work to that. So I think there'll be some people who could probably uh, benefit you if that's the thing you want to do. Again, so we're looking at like Barnes and Noble, Amazon. Will there be any pre-sales, anything like that?
So pre-orders start on July 15th. And then it'll pre-orders will be available on Barnes and Noble and Amazon.
Gotcha.
And then the actual order or the actual channels where the book will be all major booksellers.
That sounds dope. I'm excited for when that comes out. Let me know, because vampires to me is horror enough that if you need to be on Socko and the Moon, I can make that work. I happen to know somebody on the show. I got you. Like I said, and then once I mean, there are so many places to work with people and conventions. Like I said, we got a lot of connects at the conventions, but I wanted to get into your conventions and your book signings, and and I want to go back to Imaginarium. And I want to get into. I just want to tell the story, honestly, because you're here. Back to that purple blazer. This guy. We had a somber moment. We're going to lighten it up here a little bit. I'm going to tell the story. This guy mentioned that he likes to sing on occasion. So let's talk about karaoke real quick. Moon, story time with the Moon. So we're sitting in the at karaoke, one of the kind of evening events at the Imaginarium convention, and I'm over here talking to some friends. I'm joking over here, and Wayne's over here watching things take place karaoke. The song being performed is "Purple Rain" by Prince, who we just memorialized 10 years since he's been gone. That's crazy, isn't it? Ironically, being sung by someone named Wayne on stage. The guy's name is Wayne. Like he was up there with Holly singing it, and Wayne leaves. This Wayne leaves and comes back, and when he comes back, I'm listening to the song. I see Wayne, and I'm like, I'll be right back. Because anyone who knows me knows the only person I'm ever trying to entertain is me. If I tell you a joke and it sounds stupid, understand I found it hilarious. And I'm the one I'm trying to entertain. I'm always trying to make me laugh. So I cut my friends off and I run over to Wayne and I wait to that part of the song and I go, "Purple Wayne, Purple Wayne."
It's stuck. It's stuck from there.
It's great. And I love it because actually earlier in the day, someone had made a Prince reference to you because you're wearing a purple blazer. I'm like, black man in a purple blazer? Come on now. We can't be making Prince jokes. And then here I go. It's fine when I do it. No, whoever that was that I jokingly chastised, my bad. You're right. You know what? You're right. But no, that was fun. And then he would later, of all songs for you to sing, You were singing Evanescence, man.
You know, that to this day, that is still my favorite band. I love them. They are still my favorite band, and I need to go. I love that album.
Listen,
I love that album.
listen. I just bought these.
Fallen,
The non-special
legendary.
edition of this is in that closet. It's one of my favorite bands too.
Yes,
I
yes,
I get it, and I love this.
and on that
And there's a
on that
new album
note,
coming.
yes, yes, it is, and they have a new single out as well.
They do. Was I up at midnight when that got released? Yes, I was.
Yeah, yeah. I immediately went to listen to it.
Did I listen to that song at 12:03? I sure did. I sure did.
And it's funny because they're going to be here in St. Louis in July, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
like, I want my arm to heal so that I'm, I don't, because concerts. I've never been to a concert, but I know they can be chaotic, and I want to be 100%. I want to be 100% when I go to my first concert,
Which is
it's
wild to me.
I know, right?
It's wild to me because, mind you, I'm a festival dude, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm retired. I'm a retired festival dude. So there's like local shows, there's concerts, then there's festival life, which is a whole different beast. And how old are you, Wayne?
35.
35, and you've never been to a concert, my dude. I feel responsible. I've got to fix that. I don't know how, but I've got to work.
I've been to 4 pro wrestling events. One of them being WrestleMania.
That's something I haven't done yet. And that's not going to happen while the cheapest ticket's $800.
Oh no! I went to WrestleMania at WrestleMania 24. That was years ago.
Yeah.
Now
for the non-wrestling fans, WrestleMania 42 was last weekend, and they do go in order. They have been done every year, so you can subtract 24 and 42. It's been a hot grip.
A lot has changed, and when I say a lot, prices have changed.
Yeah, that's a whole thing I covered on the Moon Eagles Wrestling podcast. You can go. Actually, that episode will be available on this same channel. So yeah, you can watch that live with me and Joker. That episode about WrestleMania 42. We talk about prices. That's a different show.
But Evanescence is coming here. I'm excited because I'm going. I'm gonna find. I don't have any Evanescence wear or anything like that.
You don't need it. It's one of those weird concert taboos to wear the band shirt to the band's concert. I think it makes perfect sense. I don't criticize anybody. Wear what you want. I walk around wearing my own damn t-shirt, so it's perfectly fine.
Hey, that's not bad.
I mean, how else am I going to promote the show?
That's pretty good.
But there's always a merch booth there, so you can always buy something there. It's perfectly fine. Just prepare to stand in that line. We can talk about that later. But no, like your first concert being Evanescence, I think is perfectly great. My favorite band right now is actually the Pretty Reckless. They have been for quite a while. I was introduced to the Pretty Reckless because they opened for Evanescence.
Wow.
They opened for Evanescence back when their first album came out. Light Me Up, great album. Taylor, if you ever want to come on the show, you're more than welcome. Actually, Taylor Mumsy can get away with literally anything. You want to be on any show of mine, Taylor is more than welcome. So is Amy Lee, for that matter. But no, huge fan of Evanescence. Evanescence introduced me to Within Temptation and the Pretty Reckless.
Yes.
One way or another. And I think if that's going to be your first show, that would be a great show for you. But the question that has to come through from that is, what's the number one concert you'd look? Who's the number one band you'd want to see?
If we're talking about
any genre, any band, any artist, if I said here are 2 tickets to whoever you want to see, who are you picking?
Alanis Morissette.
I cannot even complain with that.
I've been a fan of hers for a long time.
That
If
Jagged
we're
Little
talking
Pill
about
album.
yes, Jagged Little Pill. I love So-Called Chaos, and Flavors of Entanglement is also a great album. If you want to hear some, if you've never listened to those albums, I highly recommend it. Great, it's just great stuff. Oh man, yeah, Alanis Morissette, Katie Tunstall, Florence and the Machine. I love them.
Wow.
They
That's
are
old school 90s,
fantastic.
man. That is 90s quintessential. Fun bonus story. The 25th, the Jagged Little Pill came out in 1995. That's relevant. Because Alanis Morissette wanted to do a 25th anniversary tour for Jagged Little Pill. And I don't know how good you guys are with math, but the 25th anniversary for that album was in 2020. And I wanted, that tour was Alanis Morissette with Garbage and Liz Phair opening for her. And I'd never seen Garbage live. I'd never seen Morissette live. And I wanted to see Alanis Morissette and Garbage so bad. I was good. They were coming to Nashville, which is only like 3 hours south. 3 hours south of me, man. It's right there. I don't know if you all remember 2020 very well. I don't know if you know what happened in 2020.
Oh boy!
But needless to say, the concert never happened. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Alanis Morissette is going to be in Louisville this year, this September. We have two festivals in Louisville called Louder Than Life and Bourbon and Beyond. And I think Alanis Morissette is going to be at Bourbon and Beyond. It's my show. I can interrupt it if I want to.
I'm marking this in my calendar because I listen here, hand, heal up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to be. Festival life is pretty dope.
Well, the thing with a broken wrist is driving, because Louisville is 5 hours from me, and
more or less, yeah.
It's really hard to drive with one hand for a very long amount of time for me.
I can see that. I can see that.
So I'm limited on my travel right now in terms of driving a car. I can't begin to tell you how hard it is to simply just buckle my seatbelt with this cast on. It's really like, because I'm sitting here twisting and my rotator cuff is torn. So I have to reach over to buckle the seatbelt is even harder.
Right.
So I got some healing to do before I can go anywhere far out.
That's fair.
And when I flew out to New Jersey and I got there, it was either bus or I had family driving me around. So, just traveling. I want to get back into it, but I want to get better. But first things first, the doctor saying, "Hey, this gets to come off."
So what happened? What happened?
So
sure,
I was story time.
Story time. Let's go with
it. I wanted to go to the gas station to get me a Gatorade, which to the gas station's like right across from me. So I'm not going to drive. I'm just going to walk, throw my headphones on, and walk to the store. So I come to the little island in the across the street. There's no normal crosswalk because it's a small village, and but you have cars speeding down this intersection. I didn't see any cars besides the one that is at a red light. So I cross. This car runs the red light, turns, and hits me. I fly forward like a couple feet. This is an SUV, by the way. My shoes come off. My headphones go God knows where, and my glasses shatter off. I was really upset about the headphones, by the way. But
which is wild. As expensive as glasses are, it's like no. But my headphones though.
My headphones. No,
But my
but the
headphones though.
so I'm on the ground, just like kind of just like what the fuck? I just get hit by a car just now. And I think my
That
first
would be my
reaction
reaction. That'd be my reaction.
is I kind of do like a body check on my ribs to make sure I'm okay. And as I sit up, I'm like, fuck. And I reach my hand up to kind of say, stop, stop, stop. And the guy gets out of the vehicle and he's like, you know, because I'm happy he stopped. And
Yeah.
he's like, you know, are you okay? You know, do you need my help? And I kind of scooch my way to the side of the road, so because I don't want to get hit or I don't want another accident.
Again, right?
Yeah, because no one wants, you know, a double tap.
No. No zombie movie here, man. No.
And I get over there, and he's like, "Is there anything, you know, that I can do that I can get you?" I already called the police and everything. And I say, "Can you please get my shoes? Because they flew off when you hit me." Because it was cold outside and my feet were freezing. He got my shoes. Ambulance came. Well, at first the police came and they put me in the police vehicle because I told them I was really cold. When the ambulance came, I already could tell that something was wrong with my wrist. I just couldn't move it. I really didn't feel much pain at that moment because of the adrenaline.
Naturally, yeah.
So I get it, you know, they put me in the ambulance, they put a little neck halo on me, and they were like, you know, that adrenaline's pumping, so you're not really sure if you have any other internal injuries. You could be bleeding from the inside for all they know. And I'm just thinking, oh, that's nice. I could be practically dying and making jokes at the same time. That's awesome.
I mean, that's what I would be doing. I mean, we see how I conduct this show. I'm obviously going to be like, oh well, that's one light in the distance.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, I don't know any other way I can react to this right now. So I'm gonna laugh it off. And I asked the lady that was looking over me because she had cut my shirt. And it was a Marvel shirt that I really like, and they had cut it open. So I was like,
"It's always the shirts you like."
Exactly.
It's always the shirts you like.
I was like, do I get a I got hit by a car and survived T-shirt for this or something? Because you know, I'm just going along as much as I possibly can. Once I got to the hospital, that's when the pain started coming in. And my shoulder started hurting, my calf muscle, my knees, all that hit, which technically did wrist damage, shoulder damage, but you still feel everything because that's a car hitting you. And
you got hit in the face with a car. Yeah.
Yeah. The car wins. I don't care what anybody. I'm still walking and talking. Guess what? It hurts. The car won.
The car won, yeah.
But luckily, it broke and displaced the scaphoid bone in my wrist. Mm-hmm. Rotator cuffs messed up. So they did surgery. They put the scaphoid bone back together and put a screw through it. And then I've got another month with this cast. I had a green one. But they took that off to examine it, and they said I had to wear another cast. So I got the purple rainmaker.
Purple rainmaker.
If you know, you know.
Shout out to Velveteen. Like,
hey,
hey, you know what? Hey, look, you know what? That's a different show. Shout out to Velveteen. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Me and my daughter, we decorated we did a little decoration of the cast because we got bored.
Love
So
it.
took it upon ourselves to do it. But I'm here. I'm still here. Healing, getting better. I had to. I think this was a sign to kind of slow down on the activity, on the physical activity,
Yeah.
because I
And
really
Gatorade.
hadn't been.
You should have been going for Powerade. Like that's
I
where your
know,
mistake
right?
was. You're going with Pepsi.
No, hey, Bobby Boucher would have told me to get water instead.
That's fair. That's fair. You're like, you know what? On second thought, I'm not even thirsty. Like I could have
Bobby,
just had water at home.
exactly. Bobby Boucher was right. He was right the whole time.
Right the whole time.
But it's more of it's a lot of self care now. Being because I had to take time off work to get better, heal up, um, and then a lot of self care goes into that. Is doing a lot of stretching and kind of trying to make sure that my body doesn't get all tensed up or anything like that, because I am still feeling pain. My knees don't feel the same. My shoulder don't feel the same. Heck, my back don't feel the same. So,
and part of that is getting old. Part of
yeah,
that is just
yeah. Part of
part
that
of
is
that
getting
is just
old.
35. But
Exactly.
that's 35 normally. 35
Yeah,
plus
exactly.
SUV.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, you made it worse.
Yeah, it's like fast forwarded all that pain. But I had a
Just
couple of questions I wanted to ask you in light of all of this accident. One, how has this impacted your travel plans? Do you have plans on doing any conventions? Can you do any conventions, any other book signings? How's that been for you since the accident?
since the accident, I've had to cancel two. One was in Virginia, and one was in Clearwater, Florida. Um, only mainly because the one in Florida was during the week of my surgery. I
Yeah,
wouldn't have been able to make that one. And one in Virginia was just, there was a lot for me to get through to get to that one, and I just knew I wasn't going to be able to make it.
yeah,
Plus, it was in the same month that I went to New Jersey. That the one in Jersey was more of an obligation because the Paramus date was originally set for December.
mm,
I ended up missing my flight, and they gracefully rescheduled to um, the day that it was. So
yeah,
I had no other choice but to suck it up and get to that one.
yeah.
Um,
There would be some like reputation
yeah,
repercussions for that.
exactly. The only two signings that I have right now are local. One is at the Barnes and Nobles here in St. Louis at the Galleria, and the other one is at the Sugar and Sage Cafe in Dupont, Illinois. And those are kind of in the same density,
Yeah,
which is a short drive. Other than that, I can't really get too far by vehicle um, because driving is kind of difficult right now.
right.
Um, and driving a long distance would be even, I put myself in a bit of a risk if I tried to go by myself and drive, a long distance.
Right, of
Um,
course, yeah.
if I could get somewhere by train, that'd be great. But
We
right
need more
now,
trains. We need more
I
trains.
wish we had more trains, more train areas where you could get to certain places by train. Because I love taking the train. God, I love it. It's so awesome.
I've only done it
Um,
up the like in New England. I've only done it in New England, but it seemed really convenient. It's
it's
like the
convenient.
bus, but fast.
Exactly. But also it's more roomier. That to me, than in my experience, I've had much more room on a train. It's
Easy.
I feel it's also I feel safer on it for some reason.
For
I know things
there's something.
happen.
Well, you're not on a road. You're not on a road.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think
You're
that
on a
has a lot
road.
of it. It's like you're on the road and you're stopping and going on the bus. Um,
Mhm.
but something about a train just feels solid. I don't know. That's the
Yeah,
only way I can think about it.
it feel of the three options, floating in a capsule in the high up in the sky, and then a vehicle that is surrounded by many different drivers of different attitudes and flavors of the day. You just
Yeah.
don't know what you're gonna get. But with a train, hey, it's just a single track. The only other thing you have to worry about is maybe another train, or if the
Right.
train comes off the rail. That's about it. The risks are so much lower when you're on the train.
I mean, you got to worry about an SUV just walking. That's how you feel. I mean, that's even walking is treacherous now.
Look, I'm not crossing that street anymore.
Like, it's up the street. Why are you driving? Trust
Stop.
me. I'm just gonna drive.
Trust me.
I'll just hit the lights. It's okay. Feel better. But more importantly, I'm going to lead into this more important question. I mean, this is, as you've described throughout the course of this, this accident has impacted you physically, mentally. How has this impacted your work, your focus, that drive, that motivation, that accountability? Has it thrown off your schedule any? What's the other side of that accident?
It has thrown off my writing schedule. It's thrown off my routine a lot. It also has thrown off my writing schedule. I haven't really announced anything. A lot of things have stayed the same because I want to kind of keep that consistency. But if it has to change, like the release dates, then I will, ahead of time formally announce, hey, this has to change. The book release will, be bumped up. And I'm prepared to do that. But at the moment, I'm staying confident that I can consistently sit down and write. Routine is changed a lot. Just, I guess, physically and mentally, the whole thing's kind of affected my sleep patterns and everything. So I've been up a lot more, and getting sleep has been a lot more difficult.
I can imagine.
So I have to change some habits and find different times to write. Not being at work, that has given me an opportunity to kind of have more time to write, but then you still have other complications that make it harder to have a sit down. There's the mentality of not being able to do anything. That's a mental gate, because that weird feeling of uselessness starts creeping in your head. It's like, man, I haven't been to work in a long time. I haven't worked out in a long time. I'm starting to feel discouraged. These are those mental whispers, and I know everyone gets them. And there's so many things and circumstances that could lead to that. And right now, that right now is the thing that I'm trying to get through, is that feeling of uselessness. I want to be doing more, but I can't. So I need to sit down and I need to utilize my time wisely. So I will sit down and write, but it's gonna bother me a little bit, because while I'm writing, I still feel like I should be doing something else. And then it's the physical part, because it's little simple things that hurt more. And I'm not trying to sound like, oh, boo-hoo or whatever. It's as legit as
real
possible,
is real, man.
Yeah, like, hey,
what is
hurt.
What is
The shit hurts, simply getting up and walking around and trying to move my arm and everything. It hurts. It hurts a lot. And that messes with your head too. It's the chronic pain messes with your head, and you start feeling this weird swirl of things, and it just affects your psyche. It distracts you. It distracts you from doing things that you want to do. And you really have to consolidate. You have to sit down and try and consolidate as best as possible. So making a checklist of things that you have to do, and try not to get distracted by that.
Yeah.
I, it's been weird. A lot of things have changed since the accident. A lot of habits have changed, and right now the goal is to find a new habit during this time of kind of like this time of meditation and kind of spacing everything out, and
Yeah.
adapt to this new routine and adapt to it until things start to go back to the way they were, and you start getting back into the routine that you had before. Nothing's ever going to go back to the way it was. Things are
Yeah.
going to still be, still going to be in pain. That chronic pain is
Yeah.
still going to be there, but
Your knees ain't getting better, my dog. I don't know how to like. There's nothing I can tell you about that. Your knees are done.
Like my hairline, I've settled with my knees.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason. This is not sponsored by the Freebird called Sheriff. It's on my desk. I'm gonna use it after the show because the stubble's coming back. I'm gonna use it after the show. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Bald, it's become a staple of the look now.
it's and it doesn't make us all look alike. I promise. I wasn't gonna tell that story. I wasn't gonna, but I will briefly allude to there's this ongoing kind of joke at Imaginarium because there's this old adage that all Black people look alike, and twice now my good friend Don Guillory has been mistaken, who's a shorter light-skinned Black guy who's also bald. He's been mistaken for me, and he's been mistaken for Wayne, and it was hilarious.
Like, what's happening here?
It was great. It happened the year. All right, I'll tell it. Okay, so the short version of this story, and I'll keep names out of it just because I hate to give the wrong negative impression. For the record, no one meant any harm by any of this. It was just hilarious. I found it to be the most funniest thing in the world. So it was the night I won my first award at Imaginarium, and I meet up with Don and James Sabata and Don Guillory. Dr. Don Guillory recently got his PhD. So I like to do that. And James hits me up and is like, dude, you missed something hilarious. I'm like, what'd I miss? He's like, so I'm hanging out with Don and some lady comes up to me like, oh, hey, congratulations. And he's really confused. He has no idea what's going on. And she keeps like congratulating him about this, da, da, da. And he is lost. Turns out she thinks that Don is me. Because I went up and received my award, my first screenwriting award. And so I'm like, oh, she pulled a racism. It's great. Oh, I missed it. Now, 1 year later, we're jokingly reminiscing about this story. And I've recently met Wayne. This is actually after the karaoke spot where he's singing Evanescence. That's actually relevant. And so me and Don joke when we see each other. I call him Dwan, and he'll respond to me being Don. It's a play off of what happened last year. And while we're at a young lady's booth, she meant no harm by any of this, but it was so funny for the setup because Don's a family man. He's got a daughter and he's got a wife at home. And so I'm sitting here talking to a friend of mine also, and Don walks up, and then this young lady whose booth we were standing at puts her arm around Don, and it starts being funny because of how she starts this off. She goes, "You were great last night." Now listen, this isn't that kind of show, but if anyone knows me, if you're gonna put your arm around another man and be like, "You were great last night," I only have one thought about why you are saying this. And the fact that I know that my buddy is married at home, okay, for the record, he didn't do anything wrong. So if Don and or his wife is catching this episode, leave Don alone. Don is innocent. He did nothing wrong. Let me just say he did nothing wrong. I feel to my boy, I feel like I have to clarify that. But you can imagine the confused look on his face to hear that. I'm rolling because I'm like, I need to find out what the hell the gossip is. What are you confessing to? Because mind you, this is a convention. We are in this hotel amongst each other for like 5 days. He is miles away from home. And I'm gonna tell you, I wouldn't be telling this story if homie actually screwed something up. Listen, you might think I'm a bad person, but that's my boy. That's his business. I'm not gonna call him out. You can hate me for whatever. That ain't my business. But when she puts his arm around him and like, you were great last night, I'm thinking, oh, was he now? Please do tell. I want to hear everything. And we're laughing. He's confused. And she just keeps saying, you were so good last night. I'm like, okay, I need to hear all this story, this whole story. Turns out she thought he was such a great singer the night before at karaoke, in that purple blazer of his. And I lost it. I absolutely lost it. I was rolling. I am running off because, mind you, this is a year after the event had happened, and I had just met Wayne. Right? I just met him like a couple days ago, and I'm going back to tell. I got to find James. I got to tell James. I need to tell this guy and this guy and this guy who I just told the story to about last year. It happened again. There's a chapter 2 to this story. So I tell James and I find Wayne. I'm like, Wayne, sir, I need to talk to you because you've just been inducted into a brotherhood you had no idea existed. And then I tell Wayne the story, and it's fantastic. Like I said, the thing he was great at the night prior was singing in karaoke. Don Guillory is a good man. He's a good family man. He did nothing wrong. Love you, Don. He's going to hate me for that. But it was hilarious. It irritated me. That's all that matters. I don't even know why I told that story. But it is so much fun. And how did it feel when you heard about your new role in this brotherhood? When you heard that story, what was your first thought?
I thought it was hilarious. It is hilarious. Like it's 3 of us now. We're 3 in 1 now.
We all look alike. For the record, none of us look alike. Like
nothing alike.
Don is shorter than me. He's more muscular than I am. I'm just fat. He's more muscular than me. He's former military. But he's light skinned and he's bald. And he's so much lighter than Wayne. I don't even know.
I think I'm the darkest one here.
You are. Because Don is about my complexion. And so you can see me and Wayne on camera right now. And you can see that we don't look alike. So you can imagine.
Like how?
Like the room was dark, but not that dark. Like
it's funny, but at the same time, I'm like confused. Like how? How'd you
it's
get
like
that
the how though. It's like
yeah.
But it's sadly it didn't happen last year. And I was actually really upset that it didn't happen last year. I'm like, oh, nobody did it this year. It's sad. My heart was a little bit broken, but it's funny, and I love telling that story because one, it just shows like a lighter side, and I hope that brightened your day a little bit in remembering that. So I mean, honestly, that was a lot of what I wanted to cover, because one, I honestly think that you're a great guy. You're super kind. You're very humble. Every time we've spoke, you've been very kind, very generous with your time. And I just want to take a moment to just say how much I appreciate you for doing the show. I appreciate you for doing the wrestling show and the wrestling panels. We've done 2 wrestling panels together. Um, I just want to thank you for being part of the Imaginarium family and the writing community.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if I have some screenplays, I need somebody to glance over. I'll send them your way. If you want me to glance over some, feel free. I stay busy, so if I haven't read it in a couple of weeks, it's like, I'm gonna get to it.
No, I
I'm gonna
understand.
get to it.
Believe me, especially when you're like words deep into like a project, it's kind of hard to kind of pull yourself away. I completely understand.
To immerse yourself in somebody else's world after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost as hard as trying to write 2 screenplays at one time, 2 different screenplays at one time.
To write 2 different ones and try to edit through another one.
Yeah, that's mental gymnastics right there.
I don't know how I'm doing it, which is probably why I didn't. That's why I stopped.
It'll make a headache.
It will. Like I was telling Wayne earlier, like my recording schedule is wild, and so I haven't had time to like sit down and breathe when it comes to writing. But again, enough about me, because we're going to close this up and let you get back to all the things the 1,400,000 projects that you got to write by next week or whatever. This crazy timetable of yours. Is there anything that you wanted to share with the people? Anything about your projects, or maybe any last words of encouragement or whatever? Anything you want to say? The floor is yours.
I love encouragement. I think that's probably the best thing to end off on, because no matter who you are, I think everybody needs words of encouragement. So depending on what point or what part of the creative stage that you are, depending on your work, and if you're ever feeling low or uncertain about something based on how others perceive you, I'm going to tell you, as someone who always cared about what others thought on what I was doing, or who thought I was weird because of what I like doing or what I like writing. If you love your work and you love what you do and you're in that creative space and that's what makes you feel good, then be the weird one. Be the weird one that people are confused about or talk about, because you're always completely driven into your work. Be that one that they're going to talk about, because they may talk about you negatively right now, but when you're successful and when your work is taking off and when you're doing it more, they're going to talk about you. They're going to continue talking about you, no matter what, whether it's good or bad. So you might as well just give them the opportunity to talk about all the good that you have. And the best thing about that is you're going to surprise yourself. You're going to do good things for yourself as long as you stay on that path. I tell this to my kids, is, stay on the good path that you're doing, because you're going to accomplish so much, and your work is important. No matter what anyone says, no matter how small the project is, no matter how big the project is, no matter how short the story is, it's important. Everyone has a story to tell, and it's important that the story is told. That's it. Tell your story, enjoy the creative process, and enjoy the journey.
Tell your story and be the weird one. That's the takeaway.
Yes.
That is definitely the takeaway.
Be weird.
Be weird. Be the weird one. I love that he instantly started laughing. He started laughing because he saw his website. I love that. It's that www.mitchell.com was right there.
I know it was. It was
too. Right there. But this is hilarious. This is. I swear, if we didn't make so much of a joke about it right before we started recording, right before I hit, like, as I told you guys, it's a 2-stage like start off thing, right? And I have to hit the button twice. I hit it once, And it was just so damn funny. Because the last time we were talking about this on Moon Eagles Wrestling, the last time we were talking about this, he was just like, yeah, you can find me at www.w-w-m.com. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's like so many W's.
I really thought about it when I first put that together, and I was like, "Is this going to be confusing?" Nah,
it'll be fine. And here's the thing: it's not confusing, but damn, it's a lot. But honestly, it's one of those things where you talk about it, people are going to remember it.
Yes, yep.
There's almost no bad publicity. Almost. But this isn't bad. It stands out, it's memorable, and you can say wab.com.
I swear I'm gonna turn that into a jingle.
It has to be. I'm waiting for it. But you can find Wayne just about anywhere. You can find him on Instagram, I know for sure, at WW Mitchell. It might be Purple Wayne. I can't remember if you changed it back or not.
I did change it back. I did have Purple Wayne.
That was right
for a while.
That was. I remember I messaged him when I saw it as Purple Wayne. I'm like, you embraced it. He's like, yeah, I have really indeed. But no, you can find him on Instagram as WW Mitchell, which was the right call. It was the right call to go back to WW Mitchell. Or you can find him at www.w-w-m.com.
Or simply .com.
It's so good. It's so good. So again, thank you, man, for taking the time out to do this show. This has been
absolutely
a blast. I apparently don't know how to do short shows. I don't even know. I don't know how to do that. That's not my forte. It's not what I do here. Any questions about the show or anything, feel free to email me at dlhearnwrites@gmail.com. Yes, I had to read that because sometimes I get confused. And I, of course, am Dwan L. Hearn, more affectionately known as the Moon. And this has been the Moon Unscathed.